All right. I saw some heads bopping. How are you guys this Monday night? Good. It is team time. It is Monday, July 8th. Dee here. Meg is here. Great to see all of you guys coming on. And we've got a good night planned for our training tonight. And then hopefully you guys are all aware that at 8 p.m., we're going to stop this call. And then we all have to go over and log into the Optavia community coach call. So this can be different than what we typically watch party, or we can't Zoom within a Zoom. So we're going to disband. So hopefully you've got that in your email, what the link is, because Optavia, I have no information, but they are going to be dropping two what they're calling momentum builders to help us move the mission forward. So that's exciting. And then we are going to open up this Zoom room afterwards. If you want to pop back in here, we can discuss it, ask any questions, kind of process it through together. So that is really exciting. And a couple of things before we jump into our topic tonight, which is going to be on the topic of helping our clients really start to find freedom in their journey, kind of breaking out of that yo-yo systemic all or nothing thinking. And before we jump into that, I wanted to give you a quick update on the Flex plan. So if you remember, just a couple of weeks ago, we started talking about and offered to our coaches here, anybody that wanted something different, maybe that you felt stuck in your health, stuck maybe in prison on the 5-in-1, doing the 5-in-1-ish, etc. So we've got the 5-in-1 Flex plan. There's a whole post in Coaches Up for Change if you want to know more about it. But we've got some 1-week results on it, and I wanted to share that with you. So I think the most important thing that I'm seeing, we've got a private Facebook group. You can still join, or a message group. You can still join in if you want to check this out. I think the most positive thing, what I'm hearing, is us starting to move out of this yo-yo systemic diet mentality. When I started seeing phrases like, I feel so free, I can eat fruit again, etc. Well, that's really what we want to be doing, right? Is encouraging healthy eating, especially once we're out of the weight loss mode. So the positive things from our survey that we got, that most people said that they were experiencing more freedom, more optimism, which I think is huge. If we can start to feel good about ourselves and our own health going forward, more confidence, more energy, and sleeping better. But the optimism, more freedom, I think is huge. And then for that 1 week, the average weight loss, it was as high as 5 pounds for somebody, but the average weight loss was 1.38 pounds for a week. And that's actually pretty good. When you think healthy weight loss, 1 to 2 pounds a week, we're in a caloric deficit mode. Meg and I were having a conversation today, and I said, honestly, if I could lose 4 pounds in a month, right, considering the trajectory I've been on, like that would be phenomenal. So I think just keep this in mind. It's going to apply as we go later into the call, but I just wanted to put that out there. And like I said, even people that weren't seeing a huge dramatic change on the scale were saying how much better they felt physically. Is there anybody who's been doing it that might want to pop in for a minute, maybe kind of share your experience or anything that's stood out to you?
I will, Dee.
Okay, Gina.
I'm sleeping like a rock. And those that know me really well, I am not a sleeper. I Everybody wonders how I get all these books read in a month. Well, because I don't sleep. I am like dead to the world at 9 o'clock. And I really believe it's because I'm eating right.
Mm,
So,
yeah,
and
such a
it
ripple effect.
it is, and it's not perfect, but it feels great. It's pretty easy. Having my Fitness Pal really helps to make sure that you're getting the right balance. So I love it.
That's so good to hear. So good to hear. Well, you know what? We're going to hear about a lot at convention. So those of us who are registered, and I think I just started reading it. I just wanted to bring this up. So James Clear, who is the author of Atomic Habits, is going to be the keynote speaker at convention. Um, I am a personal development junkie, guru. How I have not read this book until now, I don't know. I don't know. Now, things I'm reading in it are familiar because Dr. A references this. You hear it in different ways. But it has been mind blowing to me. And I think as we're starting to think about ourselves and evolving to be the best coaches that we can be, the way that we look at ourselves, and then helping our clients kind of reframe their identity and moving into their habit change, this is an awesome read. If you're registered for convention, awesome. You're going to get to hear from James Clear. Just a reminder that it's still open for registration until it sells out. We would love to have you with us. We just had 2 more people join us once it opened up. We've got our team party. You guys are welcome to attend that, whether or not you're at convention, but you're going to hear a lot in the next few days and weeks on this, but it's a big, big deal. So Meg, anything to pipe in on before I keep it rolling?
No, just that we also have our dinner for convention that we would love to have people at as well if for some reason you can't be there.
Yeah, that's going to be on Saturday night, July 27th. That is. And it's like, it starts at 6:30, cool restaurant, good vibe. So actually have a planning meeting tomorrow with some of us, the team that's going to help us out with planning. So well, before we jump in, so tonight's topic was the 5 tips, but we thought we didn't really just want to talk at you. What we thought we'd start by doing is getting some feedback from you guys on what do you think is the best way to support clients? What would be the best tip you would give somebody? So wanted to ask a few people to speak tonight. I'm going to start with you, Julie Applewalker.
Hey guys. So when Dee asked me about this, as far as client support and how I support my clients, I think one of the biggest things I focus on is meeting them where they're at and not trying to put them in a box. And I think having this flex plan to offer, I was just talking to another coach on my team today, and she said, I'm so excited to have this option. And honestly, I come from a different place because I have a nutrition background. So I'm able to offer options to people. So I have a little bit of a different perspective, maybe than some of you who've done 5 and 1 or 4 and 2 and come into this, and that's really all you know, which is they're both amazing, but not everybody fits in that exact box. And so I've been really focused, especially as it's been a little quieter and I have a little more time to spend with clients, just being real in tune with what they need and finding out what they really want, and not trying to just be the person that's telling them what to do, but maybe asking them more questions and empowering them. So that's probably the biggest thing I would encourage, is how do we empower clients versus direct them? Like, we're not this director telling them what to do. It's more of empowerment so that they can do it for the long term. And so that would be my encouragement too, is if you find yourself fearful of what's next, or if you're stuck in 5 and 1 yourself, do you know what comes next for yourself? Because you can't coach somebody if you don't know it yourself. So that's also a big encouragement, and what I've tried to learn for myself, and how do I do this so I can teach somebody and empower them? So hope that helps.
Yeah, super helpful, Julie. Yeah, meeting them where they are, helping to empower them. And I loved the coaching through questions, more questions about them. I think not, as humans, we tend to pull away and resist being told what to do, or it can make us feel bad, and shame can rise when we feel like we're not doing what. And I think that's why our clients avoid us sometimes, is that they're afraid of what we might say to them. And I love what you said, Julie, about like, let's figure out where you are and your own journey. And I think that's where we can get tripped up, as we let fear get in. Like, hey, I'm not really quite sure what I'm doing here. I'm not doing it well. So how can I best support them? And one of the things, the reason I brought up the Atomic Habits that I really, really liked, was he talked about most people set a goal and then they have their process that they're going to get there. So, okay, I want to lose weight. I'm going to follow the 5 and 1, or I want to lose weight and I want to follow the flex plan, or whatever. But what's missing in that is actually starting to adopt the identity of a person who is actually following a process to reach a healthy weight and sustain it for life. And so as I was processing that through, I thought, as us as coaches, our own identity, how we're viewing ourselves, whether we're a good coach, we're a bad coach, oh, my clients must not be answering because I don't know what to say. I think if we can step into a place of, hey, I'm an evolving coach. Like, I've been doing this for X amount of years. I don't know all the answers. I'm learning. I'm trying to be the best I can be for me. And I know by doing that, I'll be able to be the best I can for our clients. And if you give yourself permission to continue to be a constant learner and not having to be an expert for somebody else, I think that's going to position us to be able to support somebody where they are, because we accept where we are with it. All right, Debbie Pasco. So I want to tee up Debbie for a second. Debbie and I, Debbie's one of my OGs. We have coached together for a long time. Debbie brings probably more people than anybody to celebration calls, gets rave feedback from her clients. They're always the first to say like really positive things about her. And they're also like integrated into the books. I mean, not everybody, but majority are, or they've been, coached in that direction. So what I would love to hear from you, Debbie, is, what is your best tip as like, there's something about the energy you bring to it in terms of the way you show up for your clients, kind of your expectations of them and the way you posture it, that they receive it really, really well.
Okay, well, so starting at the health assessment, when I talk to them and I learn about what they're doing, I'm like, I affirm what they're doing right. And then I also say, okay, so you're doing so many things right, but if we tweak this or that thing, then I'm confident. I've been doing this a while. I know that we can move you in the direction where you're going to be starting to see a lot of really good things happening to you. And so I'm confident about what you can accomplish, but I let them know that it comes with following the whole system. So, the connection with the coach and using the books and following the program and all those things, that's how they get their success. But I also let them know, like, as far as the coach relationship goes, that I work for them. They do not work for me. So they're not going to disappoint me. They're not going to make me proud. They're not going to, like, none of that is the way it works. The way it works is they come to me with what they've got going on, their struggles, their successes, and I celebrate the heck out of them, or I help them navigate through what they're doing. And then definitely, I think those tips calls are amazing, because another thing that I get to do is pair up with you, Dee, and let them know I don't know everything, but I've got a whole lot of people in my world who know more. And so we can reach out to Nutrition Support. We can talk to Dee, like that. We've got a whole network. So I just let them know that they're covered. Let's see here. I let them know I've seen people amaze themselves. So people come in doubting and they end up being like, I've never had this kind of success before. So I let them know that I've seen people amaze themselves, but I also let them know that I have seen people let themselves down. And that over and over and over again, the people who let themselves down are the ones who kind of drift off. So, I just kind of affirm over and over, if you're having struggles, that's the best time to reach out to your coach and plug in, because that's my job, is to help you through everything. And then I just reiterate all of the reasons why the whole system is what works. So I kind of feel like my job really is to love them, take really good notes. So like when we're talking and they tell me their daughter had surgery last week, or their dog got sick or whatever, like I can ask them next week, hey, how's your mom doing, or whatever. Like, being connected and personal matters a lot. Ask lots of questions. So I definitely have learned to ask more questions than, I'm asking. So they're doing the talking versus me doing the talking. And then just posture confidence, like even from the beginning when I had no confidence, I think posture and confidence is the trick to like coming across as you are safe here, you are covered, I've got you, like that's the thing that helps clients know that they are in a good place. So that, and then another thing is telling them that I trust them. So there have been times when like I've had some clients lately who are like struggling with this or that thing, or like staying on plan or whatever. And I'll be like, okay, I'm gonna talk to you about this flex plan because it's something that we're trying out. It's, it's designed for the GLP-1 patients, but it's working out for us and And I kind of explain it to them. And then I'd say, do you want to, do this for a little bit, let yourself have some summer fruit, slow down your progress, but at least you've got a structure? Or do you want to, stay on 5-1. And I'm actually surprised by the number of people who are like, no, actually, I want to stay on 5-1. I know this thing works. I'm happy here, and it kind of reaffirms for them that they want to stay on 5-1, but it also lets them know that I do have them, like they're covered if they decide they want to. I don't know. I think that still is coming across. It still postures competence because it's saying we've got a number of approaches here, and then it's telling them I trust them to make the decision, and so I've had a couple people say they want to do this or that thing, and I'm like, okay, well, why don't we try that and do a couple weeks and see how it goes, and if we can reassess in time. So again, it's we as a team are deciding what you're going to do, not I'm telling you what to do.
All right. There were so many nuggets in there. I hope you guys were taking notes. And Debbie is a diligent note taker with her clients. She knows everything. I watch her in her tips calls. She's taken notes of whatever they might answer. But the things that really stir that, like you instill confidence in them that they can do this. You edify what they're doing well, and then you instill confidence. Like, I've seen people do this well, and I've seen people not, and here's how it works. And you definitely posture the whole system up front. And I know you continue to do that. So, and then giving them the power of choice, right? Offering them something else. And they're like, oh, no, I really want this because I know it works. So awesome. Well, we'll listen to one more coach. Gina Manley, would love to hear from you.
I really think it's just so important to listen to them and to hear the tone in their voice. Sometimes they give a little cue about where their mindset is. You can pick up on, oh, they're in the loop again. And so how to get them out of that loop, how to, when they say, oh, I was bad this weekend, and I'll talk to them, well, what do you mean by that? Well, it's not good or bad, right? It's, you weren't bad. You made choices that maybe aren't aligned with what you want, but it's not a good or a bad. And you can almost start to hear the light bulb come on, that how important it is that they don't go down that loop. Or I had a client last week who was real successful a couple of years ago, and then her husband died and she's really struggled. And she said, it's so hard this time, and I'm having a hard time staying focused. And I said, well, what can you do today? And she didn't think of, hadn't thought about that, because we also, if you've struggled with your weight, like I have, like a lot of us have, we get in that perfectionist mindset. And so really listening to them, and they're thinking, you can tell that they want to give up because they're not 100% perfect. Well, nobody is. And so helping them make that shift of what can I do today? Or I want to start exercising again. Okay, do you think you can do 15 minutes twice this week? Look on your calendar, make an appointment with yourself. You can do it at this time, you can do it at this time. Okay, that's a start. And to get them thinking in those baby steps again. And that's where I've seen some real breakthroughs over the last couple of weeks, and really all along. But it's hard in the summer, right? It's really hard in the summer. And so sometimes people just need that little nugget.
So good. So good, Gina. I love how you shared that people need, you need to talk to them to hear that the tone in their voice, how they're doing. But what I pulled from that is we got to be talking to them, right? Like, we need to hear their tone. So we got to hear their voice. So man, such powerhouse coaches with so much wisdom and great counsel for all of us. But I know we have a lot of powerhouse coaches on, and I'm just curious, what do you feel like we missed in terms of tips? So Gina talked about listening to the tone, seeing if they're in the loop or in their mindset again. Debbie talked about affirming what they're doing right, give them one tip on something that they can improve, giving them a warning if she sees them going through, something she's seen another client go through. And let's see if I can go all the way back up to, there's so much going on in the chat, but Julie had great wisdom. And but what would you share? What tips do you feel like we have missed in terms of how to help your clients get out of the yo-yo loop? can either pop your hand up or just come off of mute.
I think one other thing, Meg, is asking, and Julie mentioned this about asking them questions to really have them come up with their own solution and maybe give them some direction, but not tell them what to do, but just ask them more questions and get them talking more, get them thinking more. And you're right, being on the phone with them, I do not like to text my clients unless they have not checked in a long time, because you really do need to hear. But think just those probing questions that our coaches did with us, we just have to remember those.
Yeah, absolutely. And Gina, if you could put some of those probing questions in the chat, that would be awesome to see what probing questions you use. All right, Vicky.
So one of the things that I know I've been missing, that I could tell when I started doing the Flex program and just was feeling more enthusiastic, more excited about it, was just that excitement. I'm not gonna lie, my energy level, my excitement level has dropped, and it shows, and it's heard. And so one of the things that I have found to be really important is for me to be excited with them and for them, and let my energy flow into them. And it does help. But anyway, that's just a thought.
Yeah, that's really good. Thank you, Vicky. I know the answer so much lies in our own energy, right? And our mindset. So that's a really good reminder. Lucy.
All right, I'm taking myself off camera. Putting myself back on camera because I'm looking crazy. It's good to be with y'all tonight. But I would say for me, I think it's important to relate to them. If they're having a particular struggle and you've had that same struggle, let them know that you've been there and that you can understand where they're going, because I think a lot of times as coaches, we feel like we have to be, I wouldn't say perfect, but we're afraid to show our own failures or our own struggles. And I think when we share those struggles with our clients, it helps them to be able to relate to you better and to trust you. And knowing that, okay, if she did it, or if he's done it, or even if he's in that same spot now, I'll tell my clients if I'm struggling, because I tell them we're in this together. It's not just me coaching them. I want us to hold each other accountable. And I think that really helps them to be able to feel like, okay, I can do this.
That's brilliant, Lucy. Such a really good reminder. I've had people ask me like if I'm always perfect, and I'm like, have you seen me? Of course I'm not always perfect, but they think that we are always perfect, right? So such a good reminder to be relatable and to share the honest truth with them and to be human. Thank you for that reminder. Beth.
Okay, so I know we're talking about talking to our clients on the phone, but what I know we all have those clients that won't come to the phone and they will maybe respond to a text. What tips do we have to get them actually on the phone?
That's a really great question. Okay, so I'm going to ask all of the amazing coaches here, raise your hand if you have some insight you can share. I'll say one thing that worked really well with Dee when I was her client, I still am her client, but was giving me a reason we needed to talk. When I was stuck in the shame cycle, I avoided Dee like the plague, right? It wasn't anything about Dee. Who would avoid Dee? She's amazing, right? But it was about me and my own shame. So she would give me a reason that we would need to talk. So it might be, hey, we've got this new Flex plan, or hey, there was something that came up that I really thought would be something you should consider, and I wanted to share it with you. Or, hey, I had a question and I want to get your advice about something. If you could give me a call, things like that. Does anything else come to mind for people? Debbie.
Yeah, I was gonna say there's the two things. One is, oh man, there's a cool thing that is coming up right now and you might be interested to hear about, like that kind of thing, like the flex plan. But sometimes just reaching out and like even leaving a voice text instead of a text and just say something like, I really miss you. How are you? You know, just kind of like a personal connection makes a big difference.
That's so good. That's so good. And personally, I found if I expect them to answer, they're a lot more likely to answer. So sometimes I try to trick myself, right, into expecting somebody who's been avoiding me like the plague. You know, if I expect them to answer, they oftentimes will. Kelly, I know you got some good wisdom.
I just wanted to mention that lately, if I've had trouble getting a hold of somebody or having them respond, I do a video message. So they see my face. And I think that the voice texting works well too, just that hear your voice, they hear the tone of voice. I think that works well. But I've gotten to where I started doing video messages and I'm getting a good response as opposed to just voice texting, just them seeing my face and seeing my expression of my concern. You know, hey, hadn't heard from you in a while. Hope everything's going okay. Last time you'd mentioned this issue or this issue, you know, and maybe it's something about their family, you know, your mom was having surgery or, you know, something like that. And they're like, oh, she remembered that. So, and then they end up reaching out. So that's something that helps. I think just that personal touch makes a big difference.
Absolutely. Thank you for that. All right.
And
Yeah.
Meg, can I share what I asked you earlier today?
Please.
Because I asked Meg, I said, you know, what would you, at the times when you were in the shame cycle, and she was at times where she ghosted me as a client, I said, what would you have wanted to hear from me? What would you have wanted from me at that point? You want to share what you responded with?
And I also, before I share mine, I would just encourage everybody to think for just a second about what that felt like back when you felt that shame. And it might not have been when you were on program. It might have been some other time in your life, but that was such a good question to really think about and put myself in those shoes again. And what did I need to hear? Because it wasn't, hey, Meg, hope you're having a great day. Because I wasn't. I didn't want that. So what I shared was what I would have wanted and what I still want to hear is, hey, it's okay. Wherever you are, whatever has happened, it's okay. It's okay. Would love to connect with you and figure out one thing you can do this week to move forward. But just to hear from somebody else that it is okay. You know, I feel like so many of us put so much pressure on ourselves that it can be stifling almost. So I would just encourage everybody to think about what your answer would be because your clients would probably answer differently than me, right? The other tip we wanted to make sure we gave you tonight, and Dee, I'm going to let you jump in here after I give this, but I heard something last week that was such a good reminder, and it was from Russ McCann, who is been a coach for like ever and ever and ever, decades. And he said he heard right away in Optavia, in order to be a successful coach, you have to do three things. You have to eat the food, right? Stay healthy, contend for your health. Even if you're not, that's okay, but be contending, eat the food. Number two, talk to people. You got to be social. You got to love on your clients, love on people in your world. And number three, and this was something I'd never heard before, he said, don't quit. And I was like, wow, so good. Eat the food, talk to people, and don't quit. Dee?
That's it. That is it. Thank you guys for everybody that contributed. We'll kind of summarize this in the post we do with the recording. Some of you guys mentioned you're going to come back and watch it again. There was a lot of gold in here, but want to go ahead and wrap it up so that we can all go over to the coach community call, and then we will open up the room afterwards if you want to pop back in and just kind of debrief on it. All right. Bye, guys.